Sales professionals, welcome to another episode of Failing My Way in Public to Success, the Mark Sclaire podcast. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. So let's get started. Now, I want to hit the ground running straight away, and I want to get you guys thinking. I want to get your brain moving a little bit, okay? And I've got a question for you. What is the most important part of the sales process? I'll ask you that again. What is the most important part of the sales process? Now, I'm not going to reveal that yet, but during my training, when I'm either online or live with a team and we're going through this is one of the topics or one of the subjects that we talk about. And people give different answers. They go the closing, the negotiation, the qualification. You know, they have a whole range because there are different steps that you follow along the process. But I want to hold back a little bit now because I want to go through a step-by-step process, and from this, at the end, we can discuss what was the most important part. Have I got your attention? All right, so let's get on with this, all right? So, first of all, where do we start with this? It's very easy to say, hey, this is our sales process and this is what we do. But I tell you right now, I've been in and worked with many sales teams, and one of the questions I ask is, tell me about your sales process. And if there's 5, 10, 15, 20 people in the room, pretty much every one of them will have a different idea of what their sales process is. So the fact that it's not been worked out in the business is one big problem. And then the next problem is it's probably been worked out, but it's not been communicated the right way. So what happens is new people start, other people leave, and people are teaching people the process during the onboarding process, and it all gets lost. It all gets lost. And that's why it's so important that it's all documented. Everybody agrees to it. Everybody understands it. And you know what happens as well is, which is a big problem, is that there's a stage in the process, let's say, I don't know, commercial negotiation. Okay, let's have that one, all right? Everyone loves a bit of commercial negotiation. But if I then ask, you know, what gets you to that stage? What would you have had to have done beforehand to get you to that stage? Again, I'll get an array of different answers. So we all have to make sure that we're singing from the same hymn sheet here. And unfortunately, many businesses and many teams I've worked in and many problems that I've faced along the way as well. It's not a case of that just because I'm teaching it doesn't mean I didn't face that problem. No, I did face that problem. And in one company I had 3 different managers within a couple of years, so they had different ideas of what they wanted their processes to be. So every company, a process can vary, but it doesn't matter how much it varies as long as it's defined within that business. There's nothing wrong with it as long as everybody follows those steps. So, but where it can change around is, you know, is it an inbound lead? Is it a qualified lead? Is it a cold call lead? So how is that coming in? And then the next step is, who's contacting it? When should they be contacting it? You know, these are little, I don't want to get too deep into it, but you know, in companies that I work in, you know, these leads are not easy to come by. And at the moment, every salesperson is a little bit fat because there's a lot of inquiries happening in many of their businesses. So rather than them going generating leads themselves, they're reliant on a company generating them leads. They actually become expectant of it now. And I actually see many companies advertising, we will give you leads. And you know, it's great because there's leads at the moment, but the trouble is when the market does start to dip, which it will do, you know, I'm not being negative here, this will happen. It happens, there's a cycle for everything. And I was here in Dubai in 2008 when the market crashed. Okay, so I know exactly how, just like that, things can change. And the order takers are the ones that would get left behind. So, you're hungry for the leads, right? Yeah, so the company said, whoever doesn't contact within 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, within the first hour, it gets moved away. The longer you leave it to contact a client, the less likely they are to buy. Because at that moment, imagine I'm online, I'm going through something, I've inquired, and then I get distracted, I'm doing something else. Yeah, within that time of me registering and you contacting me, you got my attention. You got my attention. Or I might already be speaking with one of your competitors. If you're not looking after your clients, guess who is? Your competitors. Now, it's all well and good saying, oh, I'm going to call them straight away. But there's something that I want us to be prepared for. Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, I made an inquiry because I'm in the process of starting my company up again. All right, this is the third time lucky, I guess. And we'll go through that a little bit afterwards, okay? But I made an inquiry with the company that did my last license and visa, okay? Now, what would you think that they would do here? Yeah? You'd think they would go onto the system, check my name, check to see if I'd had any previous experience with them, check to see if I'd used their services before. Did they do that? No. They contacted me, oh, you made an inquiry online, how can we help you? Or what are you looking for? I'm looking to make a license. Oh, well, we do this at 12,000, 10,000, 50,000. They know nothing about me. They don't have a clue that I have previously had a license with them. You see how this is an issue. You see how the experience is already becoming quite bad for me. Now, I decided to look into their service again because, to be honest, they're the best of a bad bunch. No one's going to be perfect. No one is ever going to be perfect. So you just look for someone that can help and guide you. And to be fair, they're helping me a lot. So I am grateful for that. But could they have improved the service? 100%. Could they have checked to see what company I had before? 100%. So this is an issue that a lot of companies face. You're going through the process, you're hungry, you don't bother to look at the person properly, you don't do research, but this is what you should be doing. You should be researching about the person. You should be checking into them. And if you're working and it's like B2B, you should be checking about the company, checking about their history, checking on the good thing, although most CRMs are not used to the full capacity or optimized in the right way, there's so much data there. And that's what's really good about working at a company that uses the CRM the right way. So look, I don't want to get too much about automated systems, and this is all pretty boring, to be fair, and I'm losing interest as well. So let's get back into this, okay? So you're going through the process. You've got the initial engagement, okay? So the person's made, whether that you've called them or they've made an inquiry, there's that part of it, okay? And the next step is you need to go on a discovery with the clients. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean that, it's a fairy tale when, once upon a time. No, you want to understand about the clients. And the issue is that so many mistakes that salespeople make, this is one of the big ones, is that when you're speaking to a client, they know that you're trying to sell to them. Okay, so they've got their guard up. And this is where we lose sales, because this idea of being so enthusiastic and speaking with such energy and making them believe is actually putting a lot of people off. So I'm not saying, be boring, but just be calm. You control the room. You control everything about this. You're an authoritative figure. They should be listening to you. But I just hear so many people lose clients because they're too overly enthusiastic, and that actually pushes people away. So what you've got here is you've got a client that you've contacted, okay, and they feel like they're going to get sold to. And what happens with salespeople is they go, oh, what are you looking for? Oh, we're looking for an apartment. Oh, yeah, we can definitely help you. No problem. We've got this, and this solution. We need to move away from that. We need to move away from what we're doing there. So what I want us to do is we need to highlight to the client that I'd like to understand more about your requirement, and we might be able to help you with this service. Now, what does that do? It gives the client room to breathe. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to speak to this person. It's not just going to be the fact of, oh, I'm definitely going to buy from them, because they may not even need what I'm looking for. They may not even have what I'm looking for. And that is how I've made that client feel. We might not be able to help you. And that's why I say, when somebody is pushing you going, oh, why should we buy from you? Maybe you won't. Maybe after this journey, you'll find out actually it was somebody else you were looking for. but I need to understand a little bit more about your requirement. And that's why, tell me the price, tell me what the price is or I'm leaving. I'm not going to be able to go through the price with you without understanding more about you as a company and what your requirements are. And from that, I can offer a bespoke service, a bespoke subscription that suits your needs. So is it okay if we sit down and go through this now? So you see how calm I am. That will make the person be respectful of you. Yeah? So not only do you want them to feel that they're not being sold to, you also want them to feel that they're in a room with somebody that knows their shit. And you do know your shit. You do know your shit, yeah, please. I mean, when I say this, I'm telling it to myself as well. I'm telling it to myself. I'm looking in this camera and I'm going, I do know my shit, but am I working on myself every single day? Am I working on my product and my service knowledge and my market knowledge? Am I learning about my clients every single day? As I've said before, if I can go through this list at the end of the day and be like, I've done my best to do this, this, and this, I go to sleep very, very easily. Okay, so now you've been through a discovery with a client and you found out certain things. And during the trainings which we do with people, we go through role plays of questions that you should be asking, but it's not just the questions that you ask, it's how you ask them. And this is why tonality is so important. And I'm not going to go through it all with you now, but I do have other videos. And if you want to see more about that, then please comment with turning point, and I will send you the videos on this part as well. But it's about tonality. So it's not what you say, but how you say it. And it's the tone that you're delivering the words in. And just, if you're coming across and you'd like to understand a little bit more, but your tone is actually quite challenging, how do you think that's going to make the person feel? So you've gone from being curious, that's how you're trying to come across, but actually they feel like you're challenging them. And if you're challenging them and they already feel like they're trying to be sold to, they will not want to work with you. Yeah. So the initial engagement, you've done a discovery with the client, you've understood their requirements. And again, this is going to vary from company to company, okay? But I'm just giving you an example of the steps you can take. All right. Now, from the discovery, you may go into a demo. Now, what we need to be prepared for here is, do we know how to demo in person compared to being online? Do we practice that? Yeah, so now it's been a good year or so, thank God, but now we're actually meeting people physically again in person. And when I started meeting people physically in person, like the little joke we had at the beginning was, can everybody see my screen? Even though I'm sat in front of them. That was a nice little icebreaker, it was nice, but that joke's old now, so. But you've gone through this, you're with the person, and are you comfortable enough to be in front of somebody now? So what we need to be careful of is, and just a quick little one here, if you're doing a presentation with a client, do not show your screen first of all in the presentation. If you're putting it up on a big TV in the conference room, don't show them anything on the screen yet until you've got out of your mouth what you want to say. Because if I put something behind here, where are your eyes? Where are your eyes? They're at the back here. You're already looking at the things here. Let's break for a second. So you're already looking at the picture from The Godfather with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. That is one of the coolest pictures you will ever come across, okay? So that's, I've had that for a while, but I thought I'd switch it up in the background. And was there anything else that I've added? Oh, you've seen the Jordans anyway. So if I've got something in the background, I've probably lost your attention at the beginning. Come back in, all right? But that's what's happening with your client. Where is the attention? Where is your client's attention? So again, when you're now presenting and demoing, have you got all of that right? Have you been through that in a role play with your team? Have you been through that? Have you recorded yourself? All of this stuff. So initial engagement, discovery, now you've demoed or you're going to do a presentation, and then we move into the proposal which you're going to send over. So now you're going to send over a proposal which is based specifically around what you've spoken about. And I just want to highlight a couple of things here. Features tell, benefits sell. Features tell, benefits sell. And the trouble is, we're talking too much about the features when we should be talking about the benefits. And that is what you should be talking about in your proposal. And you want to highlight at the beginning that this is what you touched upon, this is what you saw. You're going to do a report for them. Okay, now whether they use you or not, they will still see you as value for that. That will still be very valuable to them because you've actually done an analysis of their current ecosystem, what they were looking for, where their pains are, and where you can potentially help them or where you see their business going. That is something you can charge for. You know, this is something, we do this, but I don't know, that sounds a little bit too salesy, but companies do that. There's like a consultant report which you can put together, which is part of the package. But when you do the proposal, you want to highlight the benefits. You want to highlight what you spoke about. You want them to feel like you've understood them. Yeah, nothing worse than somebody not feeling understood. So when you're highlighting all these things, that means that you've listened to them. Yeah, you've built that rapport with them because you've listened to them. They feel heard, they feel understood, they feel appreciated. All of these things come from keeping these open and shutting this. Keeping these open and shutting this. And then with the proposal, now there's different types of ways of putting a proposal together, but I like to give a few options. Now the trouble is, if I gave you one price, you've got a yes or a no. Okay? If I gave you two options, what happens is most people choose the cheapest option. 80% of the time they would choose the cheapest option. But if I give three options, that one that was actually 20% actually increases to 60%. And there's a whole science behind this, okay? And we discussed this during the trainings that we do, but this is what I want to make clear with you. Are you understanding initial engagement properly? Are you doing the discovery the right way? Are you doing the demo the right way? Are you putting a proposal together the right way? Now you've sent over the proposal. Do you understand in your discovery actually what is the process like internally with the business? Nothing worse than me telling a salesperson that it's going to take a couple of weeks to do this and they contact me the next day. Have you not listened to me? Yeah? So I want to know within that discovery, or before I start following up, you know, what does the decision-making process look like within the business? Is there anyone else that would be involved in this? Now, a mistake a lot of salespeople make, are you the decision maker? No, you don't want to, from a person's perspective, if they're not the decision maker, what does that mean? That means that you have no interest in them now. You want to speak with the decision maker. So there's ways of asking that question without asking it so bluntly, okay? Is there anyone else involved in this process? What does that decision-making process look like within the business? So when you're working with big companies, it could be that they have a monthly meeting. And it may have been that the meeting was yesterday. So you need to wait another month before they even discuss the opportunity here. Now, if you didn't understand that, then what means is you put onto your CRM, opportunity closing in 2 weeks. There's no chance of that. So we have to, and that will help us with managing expectation and reporting up to our managers and our leaders, okay? Nothing worse than having a pipeline that's not in the right date. That's not in the right date. So, initial engagement, discovery, product demo, presentation, proposal sent over, the follow-up with the client. Now, when you're following up with a client, just following up, no, you're a person with a high value status and you've understood that there's a couple of weeks that they need. Right, so what are you doing between that time? You are keeping them informed with other things that are going on in the market. Every day I'm sending my clients updates, market updates, insights I think will be of value to them. Now, if a client has said to me that, hey, we're not going to look to do anything for 6 months, what do most salespeople do? They put it in the CRM and they contact them in 6 months. Or they contact them the next day saying, we've got a end of the month offer. Yeah, both are terrible, all right? So if there is 6 months between them now and then potentially going ahead, What do you want to do? You want to stay in contact with them. But the way you stay in contact with them is by bringing value to them. Value first, okay? Lead with value. And then when they see you in 6 months' time, you'll have that relationship with them as somebody of value. And I can't tell you how much that raises your status. You've got insights, you've got market analysis. When they see that phone ring, it's not just, oh, not Mark again. It's, oh, Mark, I want to speak to him. You see how different, just from being somebody of value, that all changes. So we've got to the follow-up, okay? Now they've come back and said, oh, we're not quite happy with the price, this and that and the other, right? So now we're going to a bit in a commercial negotiation. Now, because, again, in the discovery, you've understood what's important to them. So they then say, oh, we've been using this system, it doesn't do this, this and this, or we had this problem with it. What we need to understand is, how much is that costing them? And it's all well and good a client saying to us, oh, the system we're currently using is actually like 1/5 of the price that you're charging. Okay, but does it do everything you need it to? Yeah? How about we balance something, or how about we measure something that does the same thing? If the client's going to come to me and say, oh, one of your competitors who is up there with us that does the same of us, oh, they are, they're like 20% cheaper, then there's a discussion to have because it's comparing apples for apples, all right? But the trouble is, people, they see your product and they're comparing it against something which is shit, all right? And that's what is happening in the market every single day. And the trouble is, you end up dropping down. But you have to maintain your value. And the way you maintain the value, all right, there's many ways to do this, okay? But are there things you can add rather than removing? So as an example, with a subscription of a SaaS product, maybe they need 15 users and the subscription you're offering is only with 5, all right? Now, to the company, it costs nothing to add those. But to the client, it will mean so much. It will mean so much. You maintain your average order value, which will get you to hit your target quicker. And the client is happy because they've had something added to it. It's not about discounting here. It's not about discounting. But you then as well need to come back to them and say, look, I appreciate everything you're saying here. And I'm fully aware that this is a big amount of money which we're looking to go ahead with. But if you're comparing us with a company that you're using at the moment or other companies, I just want to go over what we've spoken about in the past because, and this isn't me trying to catch you out or anything, I'm just trying to make you aware of this because sometimes people get caught up with the pricing and they don't realise the difference between price and cost. We are giving you a price. If you go with the other company again, what is that going to cost you? And from this, you've said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this isn't important to you, then please feel free to go with the other company. And we'll be here. We'll be here, but we're not here to compete with a company like that. You see how calm I am during that, yeah? Now, is my heart racing a little bit more? I think it's racing the same amount. Let me slow this down. It's racing the same amount as it probably is right now because I'm on camera at the moment and I should be a little bit, but I'm calm, am I not? Because I've practiced this. I've done this many, many, many times over the years, meeting with clients, discovery, presenting the value, demoing, negotiations. These are all the steps that we need to take, all right? Then we get to the closing part. Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy? All right, so I'll ask you this question again. But look, we've got the initial engagement, the discovery, the demo, the proposal, the follow-up, the commercial negotiation. These are steps, all right? And then they say, hey, all right, we want to go ahead. What does that look like within a business? Does it stay with you or does it go to another part of the team? What does that handover process look like? Yeah, have you got that right? Because I've seen it so many times where the left hand does not talk to the right hand, and that's in the same business. And the right hand is then contacting the client and they've not done any handover with the left hand. And I cannot tell you how unprofessional that is. There's nothing worse than having to go through it all again with the company because they didn't speak internally. So let me ask you this question. What is the most important part of the sales process. The most important part of the sales process is the sales process. Every single step is as important as the other one. If I'm not qualifying the client the right way, how am I going to close the sale? If I'm not doing the discovery with the client the right way, how am I going to close the sale? If I don't demo it the right way to present the value and do a value proposition, how am I going to make a sale? How am I going to close the sale? If I'm not negotiating the right way, if I'm not understood everything that they have as a challenge, how am I going to close the sale? So every step is as important as the other. And during the training, I use this analogy of baseball, and it's a home run. Okay, so the pitcher throws the ball, the batter knocks it out of the park. All right, imagine the crowd are going wild. Okay, now the ball completely clears the stadium. Now, do they get a point for that knocking it out of the park? They don't get that point. How do they get the point? They only get the point when the batter completes every base. First base, third base, fourth base, home run. So, initial engagement, discovery, product demo, commercial negotiation, proposal, all of this stuff, every step is as important. Unless you get all of it right, you're not going to make the sale. Or you might make the sale, but because it wasn't qualified properly, they're not going to renew. Because it wasn't, discovery wasn't done right, you've actually missed out on a massive potential order. And all you've done is sold the basic package when you could have hit your whole year target because you sold it the right way. So that, for me, is the most important part of the sales process, the sales process. All right. So I hope you hung on with me there. Some of you are listening to me. Some of you are watching me, and I'm so happy that you are. I'm so happy that you're here. And I just want to talk a little bit now. Again, if you want to find out more about the sales process, in the comments below, message turning point, or put in the comments turning point, and I'll reach out to you and I'll be able to help you a little bit with this. Questions that you should be asking, the process that you can use, the steps by steps, and truthfully, building some confidence in you. Because if you are somebody of value and you come across the right way to a client, they need to believe that they're in a room with somebody that knows what they're doing. And that's what I want to help people with. And that's why I do videos like this. So, to have a little bit of fun now, I want to bring back that a couple of weeks ago I showed you my Game Boy, my 4 Game Boys, but I said I was trying to find some games for it and I couldn't find them, all right? But I was actually able to. So we've got one here, Donkey Kong Land 2, still in the packaging. And the other one, Mortal Kombat, still with the sticker on it for $32.99. What year is this? This is so old, honestly. Now, if anyone is looking to get into buying this sort of stuff, what you've got to be careful with, like there is a gaming place in Dubai, and I went there a couple of weeks ago, but all of the products, they're Japanese. They've all come from Japan. So all of the games, it's all in Japanese. Now, that doesn't really make a good experience for you when you're trying to play the game. So you want to make sure that they're from Europe. You want to make sure it's from the UK, America, and that's exactly where these are from. So, and that makes the price actually higher as well. And then we've also got here, I'll just show you. Who remembers these cartridges? Look at this. Super Mario Land. So that was me talking about like a sales process there, but there has been some challenges this week. All right, so should I do a video on it now? Yeah, let's talk about it now. With my visa expiring, yeah, you're getting messages from the bank saying your Emirates ID is going to expire in 2 days, 5 days, 15 days, whatever it was, okay? Now it's been Eid, so everywhere's been closed. It's been an absolute, not a nightmare because we had quite a few days off, but still, you're not being able to do anything with banks or with the company set up as well. So I contacted the bank yesterday And I said, look, my Emirates ID is going to expire in a couple of days. I'd like to know, is there a grace period? No, there's not a grace period. If you do not enter in your new Emirates ID within 2 days, your account will be blocked. And I'm like, I'm calling you up. Is it not possible for you to make an exemption for this? No, that's our company policy. That's what we do. I can't change it in the system. That's exactly how they said it to me, honestly. I started shitting myself because I don't want my account to get frozen. I don't want my account to get blocked. I've got money in that account, okay? And it was very frustrating. Now, when I got off the phone to them, I thought to myself, well, even if I did have my Emirates ID, once you get it, or once you get your visa, you don't get Emirates ID for like 2 weeks. So I called them up again and I said, look, I just want to check again, like, is it possible that there's a grace period with updating my Emirates ID on the system? Yes, sir, you get 30 days grace period. I don't know who I was speaking to before, but they've literally scared the shit out of me because they're saying that if I don't update my ID in 2 days, my account's going to be blocked. Oh no, sir, you get 30 days, no problem. Oh, okay, can you send me over an email to confirm that? Oh, don't worry, sir, this is recorded, you can use this. Okay, so look, I don't want to get the other person in trouble, but when it comes to customer service, that person, first of all, is an arsehole, okay? And second of all, they don't know their stuff. And they've also put me on hold to check with somebody as well, and that's the answer they've come back with. So I'm not calling you a liar, but I'm a little bit worried here that even what you're saying could not be true. And it turns out, well, we'll find out tomorrow actually if my account's blocked, but there should be a 30-day grace period. All right, so, I love Dubai and I'm so happy I'm here. 16 years I'm here for now. But sometimes with things like that, my God, it really just makes you think like shit can just change like that. And your account's blocked, how do you get access to your money? And it's just, oh, the heavens are just completely opened up again. By the way, if you like the rain, piss off, yeah? I don't want to scare any of you off here. Maybe none of you will listen to this after this, but I do not like the rain. Why is everybody so happy about the rain? If you like the rain, go back to the country you came from with all the rain, okay? So, coming up, by the time you see me again, which will be next week, I would have done a live webinar, which we're doing to generate some business for a 2-day course, which I'm doing next week, which is the 5 principles to building a successful career. All right, so if you're watching this now, and today is Tuesday, on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Dubai time, which is 4 p.m. UK time, we're having a live webinar where Yulia from ThinkProp we're going to have just a chat about the psychology of sales. And from that, if you feel that this could benefit your business, then please feel free to reach out to your manager and get them to look into this, because we offer either me physically coming into the office or we can do it online as well. So, but before that, and that's why I wanted to talk about this customer service example with the bank, because on Thursday I'm doing a 2-day customer service excellence course, and yeah, man, it's interesting just in regards to the role plays. And what's really important to remember when you're teaching people is there's one thing of them knowing it, but another thing of them actually doing it. Oh yeah, we know this, Mark. That's obvious stuff. Mark, that's simple stuff. Okay, do it. Oh, we don't know how to do it. And this came up in the podcast interview that I did with somebody last week. That's the example they used. Oh, like this stuff's so easy, so simple. Why are you even teaching us this? All right, do it. So it's one thing to know it, but it's another thing to be able to do it. And I like to use the example of Neo in Matrix. And they start pumping his brain with all this knowledge, and he wakes up, he goes, I know Kung Fu. And what does Morpheus say to him? Show me. Love that. Yes, love that. Absolutely brilliant. What? Absolutely, I love it. Okay, yeah, so just as I digress a little bit there, Ramadan was a little bit slow. Eid, enjoyed time, very nice. Couple of games of golf, very happy, saw the kids, brilliant, absolutely amazing. But now is the time, and I'm booked up, and I'm very, very happy. But during that time, even if the day's off, or where I've not got training, I need to be preparing and building courses as well. So if any of this has been of interest to you, and you feel that this could benefit the company, please reach out and let's have a discussion. I might be able to help the business. So I want to thank you so much for joining in on the show today. It was a little bit different because I went through what I feel is really important to help people to train them, and hopefully I shared some examples of like challenges which I've faced, because this is about failing my way in public to success. Now, as I leave you, I want to say thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere else, but you've been here with me, and I appreciate that. Remember, this is your turning point. Have a great day, everyone.